All right, Josh Hawley was not going to let this Biden administration toady get away with his BS about the electric vehicle.
I know you know the answer to these questions. Currently, one nation accounts for 60% of the world's electric vehicle production. That nation is?
China.
Yeah. One nation accounts for 76% of the world's lithium-ion battery production. That nation is?
China.
Yet your administration, this president's administration, the mandates that you put in place require that 2/3 of our new vehicle sales in just the next 8 years, 2/3 of them, be electric vehicles. Your policies are driving us and our supply chains into the hands of our greatest geostrategic enemy, enriching them, enriching their government, while forcing Americans to pay for electric vehicles that on average cost $7,000 more on average than a traditional vehicle, are more expensive to repair and insure, require more frequent replacements of everything from tires to component parts. So, Mr. Turk, why is it good for the American worker that we force our supply chains to a country that's our greatest rival and adversary? And why is it good for the American consumer?
So this is exactly why we're using all the tools that Congress gave us to diversify our supply chains, from the mining piece and especially the processing piece, which is where China really has a stranglehold. So we're making significant progress on lithium, on graphite. You name it, the tools that you all have given us to diversify those supply chains and make sure that we're getting the benefits of that. Our U.S. workers are getting the benefits of that. Citizens in St. Louis, I mentioned in my opening statement some exciting investments that are going on in St. Louis. We want U.S. Workers to benefit from this supply chain and this revolution. And China is absolutely competing. China is going whole hog on EVs and the full supply chain of it. And they're going to compete and outcompete unless we're playing and pushing back and competing with them, which is what we're doing.
Here's what I don't understand then. Why is it, if that is the case, why is it that you are interpreting the administration's climate law, so-called Inflation Reduction Act, which I think, frankly, is bad enough on its own, but you're reinterpreting it now to allow the tax credits to flow to Chinese entities. So now U.S. tax dollars are literally subsidizing Chinese battery makers. Why would we want to do that? Why would we want to not only give our adversary our supply chains and our jobs, but pay them to take them from us? Why does that make any sense?
So I would argue, and certainly want to turn to my Deputy Secretary at Treasury, we are not doing that.
How are you not?
The fact that with the 30D tax credit, only 13 models qualify at this point. Now, we hope more diversification happens and more models qualify for that tax credit is a good data point that we take this very seriously, and we want to have these jobs in the U.S. But let me
wait. I just want to stay with you, Mr. Turk, just because my time is so limited, and this is an important part. And the chairman's brought this up, and I'm glad that he has. This is really, really important. The Inflation Reduction Act, which I did not vote for, but nevertheless, the Inflation Reduction Act said clearly that China, if you are a foreign entity of concern, you don't, which includes China, you don't get the taxpayer subsidy. You don't get the 30D subsidy. You don't get the tax break. And yet your rule allows Chinese companies to get the tax break.
So this is what's going on right now. What's going on right now is that the Biden administration and all of their sort of pro-climate agenda, Green New Deal, all of this other stuff, they're really trying to push electric vehicles hardcore on people. And you see this from these quote-unquote tax subsidies that they're giving to people that are buying electric vehicles. Never mind the fact that electric vehicles are so much more expensive than gas-only vehicles. But also remember, one of the first things that Joe Biden did when he entered office was to kill the Keystone Pipeline, which sent the price of oil and all of that stuff crazy, right? So they're literally trying to make it harder for people to have run-of-the-mill gas vehicles and make it quote-unquote easier for them to get electric vehicles, but most people cannot afford electric vehicles. Even the cheapest one starts at around $30,000 to $35,000, which is out of reach of the average working class American. That is just the reality of the situation. And so they have all of these initiatives that they're pushing, not only to make it harder for people to drive regular gas vehicles, also policies that are making gas more expensive, while also outsourcing a lot of this stuff to places that are the enemies of America. It makes absolutely no sense. And I'm not entirely sure why more people are really not talking about this and are really not trying to figure this stuff out. Thank God that Josh Hawley is. But man, we're going to need more than a couple of Senate hearings to really get to the bottom of this. And I think that honestly, there's so many things that have happened since Biden has become president that people can't even comprehend just how far gone a lot of these things are.